Welcome back. In this video, our main task is really to create the results page because we haven't done that. But just before I show you how to do that, I have voted with several accounts. So I just wanted you to know how I've done it. So I've just been going through my user list one by one, copying the email, logging in, and so far I've been able to vote up to a user number 25, really, this Geoffrey here. And I just did that right now. So there's no shortcut sometimes to testing and doing data and really coming up with test data. You really have to do it as you test your system also. So I just wanted to show you with maybe 5 others, and then the 5 others we will let them not vote so that we can be able to use them at some point when we'll be doing our data analytics. Okay, so we can just log in with Mugo. We'll let Mugo vote. How I've been doing it, for example, is just to let Mugo vote for everyone on this column. Unless Mugo has also vied, then we let Mugo vote for himself. So that's what I've been doing. Then I submit. So Mugo has voted. Then I go on to this person here, Joy. Let me just change that email, so just in case. Okay. Remember, the password is just 1234. I always advise students that when you're creating users, irrespective of their duty, make sure you use the same password so that you don't try to remember a password when you're doing presentation, because that is when actually it disappears and you end up wasting time. So Joy, we'll let Joy vote for the second column here. Okay, submit your vote, log out. So you see, when I was inputting the test data for the users, I did it manually, but for things like voting, it can be quite complicated for you to do it manually. And if you do it manually in the database, enter data manually, you might actually end up introducing some errors. So the best way to do it, just to do it using the system that you've already built as you test it. So always remember that. Then here, and lastly, I want this Brian to vote. Just send the email. Someone else has that email DS. So Brian M. Just copying it. Just double click, Control A to select everything, then you copy with Control C. Okay. Then we vote. Okay, so that is enough. So we've deliberately ensured that the last 5 from 31 to 35 have not voted, but all the others from number 1 to 30 have voted. So really, if you come to our voters table, you will see that we have quite a lot of data here. And you just choose show all, for example. You'll see that we have a lot of data. Very many people have voted. You see, if we were to do this manually, entering all these rows 180 manually, most likely you'll make some errors. So it's just best that you do it to the system. Okay, so let's now go ahead and deal with this table, this particular page, the results page. There are many ways in which we can do it, but the way I want us to do it, yeah, that is in terms of how it looks like. We can do graphs for each of the, we can do, for example, are they called bar graphs for each of the positions. That's one way we can do it. The other way is the way I really want to do it is just simply just like the vote. So I just want to replace this car radio button with the number of votes that a particular individual has gotten. So without necessarily saying who the winner is at this particular point. So what we're going to do is we're simply going to copy the vote.php page. So let's do Control A to select everything, then copy. Then I'll go to the results. Yeah, this one. I don't need this, so I'll just select it, Control A, delete, then Control V to paste. So it's pasted the votes page, but we don't need this PHP on the votes page. So this one was the one that was inserting the data to the database, and this one here. I don't want to delete that comment. So I'll also delete this one. Then I will delete the form. Where does the form begin from? Here. Just delete the form. Then I come all the way down and also delete the close form. This one. Okay. After that, I'll just go back up to the president. So that's the president. Then I'm gonna look for this this place here. So I just want to remove this. Good. So this is where I'll do the votes. Maybe P and P. That's where I'll put the number of votes that the president has gotten. Okay, so let's look at the logic. How are we going to do it? We want to first go to the candidates table to get the president. So you can see it's position number 1, election ID number 1. So same thing as the previous page. Now in this for reach, we want to get the user details. That is okay. So select user from so that we can get their name. So that is okay. But other than that, we also want to get where is this for each ending at? Let me just click on this here so that I can see where it ends at. Good, it ends down here. Okay, so that's okay. So the next thing we want to do here in PHP is to we want to find out the number of votes that this candidate has, the number of votes that this candidate has managed to garner. So let me show you how we're going to do it. Okay, let me just do it. So vote SQL, so should be sorry, we just want to select star from vote, so vote where, so where we can go back to this, the vote. Let me just zoom in. So we want where candidate ID, where candidate ID is equals to candidate ID. So we already have the candidate ID here for this particular person, and it's what we were using. It's what we were using here in the radio button for the value attribute. We were using it here, the candidate ID. So we just want to retrieve, all the rows where the candidate ID matches this particular candidate's ID. What else? Maybe you can also choose and election ID is equals to 1. Of course, for now, this is the only active election, so we only have 1. Otherwise, if there were 2, you could also have maybe election ID to be 2. So for this logic to be correct, actually, we should also have the election ID. How do we declare that a variable called election ID somewhere and assigned it to 1? Okay, we can just manually specify it as 1. So the election ID has to be 1. It has to be election 1 and not any other election. So in case they participated in a previous election, we are only counting votes for this particular election. Okay, and then we want to do the vote query. So we want to do my SQLi underscore query, and we want to do db connect, comma, then we execute the vote SQL. Okay, then now what we want to do is to find out, we just want to find out the number of rows that are going to be returned. So really, the number of rows that are going to be returned are going to be the total votes for this particular person. There's going to be MySQL num rows. These are MySQL num rows, like that. Then we do vote query. Vote query. The variable, this variable here. So these total votes will give us every column, every row where the candidate ID matches the candidate ID for this particular candidate. And therefore, down here, we can echo. We can do a PHP echo total votes, semicolon, just like that. And this now should be able to give us the total votes for this particular candidate, So we've just changed this for the president. We can just save it and find out if it works before we move on to the other candidates. So let's just return this. Okay, and I can just click there and refresh. This is what should be results. Okay, so you can see we have, this guy has 12, this one has 6, this one has 7, this one has 5. So it works perfectly the way I thought it would. It simply goes counting on the votes here. Simply counts. If the candidate ID is 1, it counts the number of ones here. So it counts this one, 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, then 6, then 7, then 8, 9, 10, 11, any other one, 12. And therefore, for candidate number 1, number 1 is this user called Kelvin Karaoke, and you can see indeed they have 12 votes. So that's how you can validate whether your logic is correct. You can also go to Jane and find out if their candidate ID in the votes table appears just 5 times. So that's how we've done it. So we just do the same for the vice president and the rest, and see how that works. We just try to remember what we've changed. Okay, I don't like how that number appears. Let me change this to a H1 and see whether it's gonna be better. So save, and I'll just refresh. Okay, I think that's better. It's big, but it's okay. Okay, I think that's okay. Okay, so it's 100%. That's how it will look. I think it should be H1. Okay, so I think the only thing we've changed here, we've not changed anything, by the way. We've just added this. We've just added these 3 lines. We're just going to copy it, and of course now this one. Then come to the vice president and just paste it down here. Just paste it there. So you just want to paste it here now, and then is there anything we need to change in this? Nothing, by the way. Then okay, so let me just paste, before I paste the paragraph to print the votes for the vice president, and before I get rid of this, let me just paste this for every position, because there's nothing we are changing. So it's better we just get done with it, just like that. And then for the academic secretaries here, so we just come here and paste it, and then we come down for this one and paste it, and then we come down for the social welfare representative and paste it. Okay, that is it. So the next thing I need to do is to pick that paragraph, this H1 here. So copy. So we come to the vice president and we replace this particular line with that. We want to print the total votes for the vice president there. For the secretary general, we do the same. Just get rid of this. And paste. Then for the academic secretary, we do the same and paste. Sports and entertainment, we remove the radio button. What did I do? Okay. And lastly, for the social welfare representative, when we save our work, we come back to our browser, we refresh. Now we go down, we have the votes for the vice president, we have the votes for the secretary general, we have the votes here for the academic secretaries, we have the votes for the sports and entertainment secretary, and lastly the votes for the social welfare representative. So you see, it works. Then we need to remove this. We don't need the button there, so we can just get rid of it. Let's see, how do we do that? We just delete, we find out where it begins and where it ends. Okay. just like that, and you're done with the results page. So that's the easy lazy way. That's the easy lazy way of doing this, and I think we've done it, and it's a good thing that we've done it. Now what else do we need to do? So really, maybe in the dashboard we can do some analytics of the results and so on and so forth. I think we can do that in another video. We can actually also create an array and do an alert down here, just specifying who the winner is for each of the position. So that's the other thing we can do. That's the other thing we can do. We just save the total votes for each one of them in an array, and then we find out the maximum value in that particular array and whose name is inside there. So that's a challenge that I'm giving you, but I'll work it out offline too. But if you can just use the same alert we were using during voting, you can use it here. Just put it here and declare maybe who the winner is in each category. So like here we are on academic secretary, so you just declare that Alice is the winner, has 13 votes. 13 votes, and you can also declare the total votes that have been cast for that particular position, something like that. So thank you very much. I hope you try this out and you have fun as you do that, and you also learn as much as you have fun. Thank you very much. Nice evening. Bye.